Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Rama Hare Hare. Jai Gauranitai, Jaya Gauranitai, Jaya Radha, Madhava Radha, Madhava Radhe Radhe, Jai Radha, Shama Sundar Radha, Sundar Radhe, Jai Radhe, Jai Radhe, Jaya Shri Radhe, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Gurudev, 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 Jaya Gurudev. Nitai Gaura Haribo, Gaura Haribo, Haribo, Gaura Haribo.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Mataji. We will start today's session with prayers. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nanda Gopa Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutapadakamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavanscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश तारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. Hare Krishna all. I welcome you for today's session and I seek your blessings. So whatever I speak is in the parampara and for the pleasure of the Lord and for my purification. So let us start. Would you like to share 1 or 2 points from yesterday's class?
Yes, Mataji, I'll try little.
Yeah, volume is not clear, Mataji.
Yeah, Mataji, little low, Mataji.
Little low. Okay.
Yeah.
Just
I will try and then maybe Archana Mataji can continue. Okay. We saw 30th verse, Mataji.
Yeah, just a moment, Mataji, just a moment. I'll just come.
Sure.
Now is it okay, Mataji, the volume?
Little okay, Mataji.
Okay.
For others, I don't know. For me, it is max volume only.
How is it okay now, Mataji?
Yes, Mataji.
Yeah. Is it okay for everybody?
Yes, Mataji.
Yes, Mataji, yes.
Okay, okay. Yes, thank you. Yes, Mataji, you can.
Yes, Mataji. We saw in the last verse, like about King Prithu Maharaja. And also we discussed very generic topic also, Mataji, like yesterday. We saw that, in spite of having, Prithu Maharaj is indicating here that rich parents, but children are always unhappy. Very good, how the dualities of life. Expert physician is also there, but he's not, he's struggling like that. The counteract the contradictory of the material nature. So how the Supreme Lord, the devotional service, we have to only that is a solution for
All these
all
problems.
all these problems. We saw that
Okay.
in the last 30th verse.
Yes. And yes, Archana Mataji, you want to share something?
Thank you.
Thank you, Sindhu Mataji.
Yes, Mataji. Actually, we also saw about the difference between a devotee and atheist and theist.
Okay.
What are the difference between them? Many will think that whatever they will not follow the rules and regulation. Like the atheists, they will not follow the rules and regulation. They will say this life is to enjoy, and after death, nothing is there. That is finished. Like that, they will say.
Correct.
And they like that only they will live also. So they enjoy each and every, they think they are enjoying each and every moment, and they will go in false way also, just for their enjoyment, sense gratification, and many things we saw, Mataji, like sense gratification, material benefits, and all that, Mataji. So but devotee, when they are following, what is the difference that they get? That is, they are going to the higher planet. After their death, they are going to higher planet. And spiritual masters stand as a like a mediator who pulls us to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So Supreme, like we cannot directly go to Supreme Personality of Godhead. So we have to follow the rules and regulation of spiritual master. So Prithu Maharaja is advising everybody, though I am not there, that is after my death, if I am not there, you all have to follow the Varnashrama Dharma, and you all have to follow the regulative principle. You have to follow the Guru's instruction and go by his way. That is what we saw last. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Mataji. So Prithu Maharaj, in this chapter name is Instructions by Prithu Maharaj, and Prithu Maharaj is instructing his citizens, and some of his instructions, some of those verses we have already covered. So we'll start with today's verse number 32. I'll share the screen. Please, if you can switch on your cameras, it will be great. Yes. Who wants to recite? Today we are going to cover 3 verses, and all purports are very big. Let us see how much we can do. Who wants to recite the verse?
I'll recite, Mataji.
Yes, Mataji.
Text 32. Vinirudhuta shesha mano malapyuman Ashangha Vijnana Vishesha Viryavan Yat Angre Mule Kritaketana Punar Na Samsritim Klesha Vaham Prapadyate. Translation and purport by Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Mataji, you will read the translation and first paragraph.
Okay. Sure, Mataji.
Then somebody else will read the other paragraphs.
Translation. When a devotee takes shelter of the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he is completely cleansed of all misunderstanding or mental speculation, and he manifests renunciation. This is possible only when one is strengthened by practicing Bhakti Yoga. Once having taken shelter at the root of the lotus feet of the Lord, a devotee never comes back to this material existence, which is full of the threefold miseries. Purport. Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. As stated by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in his Sikshashtaka instructions, by the chanting of the holy name of the Lord, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, or by the process of hearing and chanting of the glories of the Lord, one's mind is gradually cleansed of all the dirt. Due to our material association since time immemorial, we have accumulated heaps of dirty things in our minds. The total effect of this takes place when a living entity identifies himself with his body and is thus entrapped by the stringent laws of material nature and put into the cycle of repeated birth and death under the false impression of bodily identification. When one is strengthened by practicing Bhakti Yoga, his mind is cleansed of this misunderstanding and he is no longer interested in material existence or in sense gratification. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Yes, Hare Krishna. Yeah, Archana Mataji, you can read the next two paragraphs. You can read.
Okay, Mataji. Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Yes.
Bhakti or devotional service is characterized by vairagya and jnana. Jnana refers to understanding that one is not his body, and vairagya means disinterest in sense gratification. These two primary principles of separation from material bondage can be realized on the strength of Bhakti Yoga. Thus, when a devotee is fixed in the loving service of the lotus feet of the Lord, he will never come back to this material existence after quitting his body, as confirmed in Bhagavad Gita by the Lord, Tyaktva deham punarjanma naiti mameti so Arjuna. In this verse, the word Vijnana is specifically important. Jnana, the knowledge of spiritual identity that one attains when he does not consider himself to be the body, is explained in Bhagavad Gita as Brahma Bhuta, the revival of spiritual realization. In the conditioned state of material existence, one cannot be spiritually realized because he identifies himself materially. The understanding of the distinction between material existence and spiritual existence is called jnana. After coming to the platform of jnana or Brahma Bhuta state, one ultimately comes to devotional service in which he completely understands his own position and the position of Supreme Personality of Godhead. This understanding is explained as Vijnana Visesha. The Lord says, therefore, that knowledge of Him is Vijnana, science. In other words, when one is strengthened by scientific knowledge of Supreme Personality of Godhead, his position of liberation is guaranteed. In Bhagavad Gita 9.2, the science of devotional service is described as Pratyaksha Vagamam Dharmyam, direct understanding of principles of religion by realization. Hare Krishna, Mataji. Thank you,
Mataji. Yes, Divya Mataji, read the last paragraph.
By practicing Bhakti Yoga, one can directly perceive his advancement in spiritual life. In other practices like Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, and Dhyana Yoga, one may not be confident about his progress, but in Bhakti Yoga, one can become directly aware of his progress in spiritual life. Just as a person who eats can understand that his hunger is satisfied, our false appetite for enjoyment and lordship or the material world is due to a prominence of passions and ignorance. By Bhakti Yoga, these two qualities are diminished and one becomes situated in the mode of goodness. Gradually surpassing the mode of goodness, one is situated in pure goodness, which is not contaminated by the material qualities. When thus situated, a devotee no longer has any doubts. He knows that he will not come back to this material world. Hare Krishna Mataji,
Hare
pranams.
Krishna. We I personally felt that these purports written by Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada, they are so beautifully he has written that they are self-explanatory. So many points Prabhupada is covering in these purports. We'll just try to see. In the previous shloka, it was said that by service we can purify the heart, correct? The by the inclination to serve the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, immediately cleanses the dirt which it has accumulated. And in this verse, so by serving, the dirt can be cleansed. So how this service can be done is by taking the shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord. So now how can we take shelter? Can we take shelter of the Lord immediately? If you go and tell somebody that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead and you have to take shelter of him. So will people immediately agree with that?
No, Mataji.
No, isn't it? So there is a process, correct? We have to go through the process. The process is hearing, chanting, correct? So hearing is the basis or is the most important aspect of devotional service, correct? Unless and until we hear, do not develop faith in the Lord, right? So by hearing, when we go near to our dear Lord, and when we go near to the Lord, then there is no fear for us in this material world, correct? A devotee is fearless. Why he is fearless? Why a devotee is fearless?
He has a complete faith that God will protect him at any point, Mataji.
Correct.
So he is fearless.
Correct. So generally, in this material world, we have fear of death. That is the biggest fear we have in this material world. But a devotee thinks that death is nothing but opening a door for him to the spiritual world, for the spiritual world, correct? And also there are other fears like losing one's position, fame, prestige, possessions, correct? But when a devotee has the knowledge, he understands that uh, these are all temporary things, correct? And he should not be attached to them. And so he has no fear of losing anything in this material world. So that is about hearing. Chanting, we know that 99% of our spiritual advancement happens by chanting. So we have to chant the names of the Lord. And then one more point Prabhupada is talking is how bhakti is characterized by vairagya and jnana. So jnana is the knowledge that is we are not this body, but we are the spirit soul. And vairagya is giving up sense gratification. So we know that our mind and our intelligence is contaminated. And why it is contaminated? Because of the impressions gathered over so many lifetimes. We don't know how many lifetimes we are suffering in this 84 lakh species of life. So many impressions are there, and because of that, our intelligence and mind, they are contaminated. So when we access higher intelligence, that is when we read scriptures, then it purifies our mind and intelligence. On our own, we cannot do that. It is not possible because Maya will never leave us. So sometimes it happens that we try to find solutions to the material problems, but in turn, what happens is the solution itself creates bigger problems. Okay, so one example I think of it is if you observe the olden days, how people were living, like in our grandfather's time or their grandparents' times. So the life was comparatively very simple. No electricity, no phones, no TVs, no other entertainment, uh, um, eh, no any other means of entertainment and everything. So they used to live a very simple life. They used to rise up early in the morning, then use they used to do their household chores, and then mostly used to do farming and related work. And then before sunset, they used to come back at sunset. I mean, they used to eat and they used to sleep, isn't it? So such simple and happy lifestyle they were having. And nowadays we see that we feel that we have advanced a lot, in the sense that we our life is much more comfortable than theirs, because they had no electricity and uh, no entertainment means, nothing like that. So we feel that we have advanced, but actually it has created more problems for us, isn't it? The solution, they tried to find out the solution for electricity. Now we are living in lights, but we are facing so many other problems because of that. Do you agree with this or not?
Yes, Mataji.
So the thing is that sometimes it happens that if we try to use our own intelligence and mind, then solutions may create bigger problems. So what we have to do is we have to align with the Lord, correct? We have to hear, we have to study the scriptures, and that way our mind and intelligence gets purified, and um, then Krishna will reveal uh, him him to us, correct? Otherwise, it is not possible. So a devotee's focus is always on receiving Krishna's mercy or Krishna's grace, correct? Jnanis or yogis, their focus is success in spiritual life, but our devotees' focus is we want to have Krishna's mercy. That is the goal of our life. So in devotees' life, I and me is not the center, but Krishna is the center, correct? And the focus is how can I serve the Lord? And then the whole process works, and then actually Jnana and Vairagya can manifest in our lives. So the devotee has aspiration that he should be relieved from Maya, and he should engage in himself in Krishna's service. That is the aspiration of a devotee. So Krishna's pleasure is the only goal of a devotee's life. And so if we live like this, then we are in harmony, we are aligned to the Lord's instructions, and we are in complete harmony with him. Like that, a finger cannot enjoy a gulab jamun on its own. It has to put it in stomach. We cannot push a gulab jamun into a hand so that no, the hand becomes satisfied. It is not like that. It has to be put in stomach only, correct? So same way, if we surrender and if we align our consciousness with Krishna, correct? Then this Krishna consciousness becomes a very happy process for us, correct? So we have to always remember this golden rule, always remember Krishna and never forget Krishna. Um, then only this Jnana and Vairagya will be complete and will be relieved from this threefold miseries, as Prabhupada is mentioning in the translation, that will never come back to this world again of threefold miseries. Um, For this surrender, I would like to share a beautiful story with you. Um, in a city, the people there, they wanted to build a beautiful temple for the Lord. And then they decided that let us begin the construction of the temple. By the time, in the meantime, we'll carve the deities also. So they wanted to have a beautiful deity of Krishna, uh, a marble deity of Krishna. Okay. So they started the construction of the temple, and meanwhile, they approached a sculptor, and there were two pieces of marble, and the pieces were talking amongst themselves. So one piece said that I don't want to go through this painful and troublesome process. You must have seen that while carving, how the sculptor carves the deity. So that piece said that I don't want to go through such a pain. And the other piece only smiled. Okay. And then the sculptor actually he meditated that which piece is to be used to carve the deity. So he meditated and he decided the other marble who just smiled. He decided to use that marble for carving the deity. And then he carved the beautiful deity out of that marble piece, very beautiful. And the construction was over, and the day was there. They were about to install the deity in the temple. So the everything was going on. They installed the deity in the temple, and the deity was so beautiful. So everyone was attracted to that deity. They were captivated by the beauty of that deity, and everyone was no bowing down before the deity, glorifying, praising the deity. And now we know that generally people break coconut in the temple, right? So they wanted to have something, some stone for that. So the other marble piece who said that I don't want to go through this painful experience. So that piece was lying there. So they just kept that piece outside the temple so that in the temple so that people can break coconut on that. Okay. So uh, the moral of the story is that if we surrender to the Lord, okay, then we will be in pain once only, and we will achieve the ultimate goal of our life, that is love of Godhead. Correct? But if we do not surrender, then there are unlimited pains, like the other marble, no, Nariyal, the coconut, the people were breaking coconut on that piece of marble. So he was going through pain unlimited times, right? So I just thought that we are talking about surrender at the lotus feet of Supreme Lord. So if we surrender, then how we can achieve our goal easily. So I just thought of sharing this story with you. Hope you liked it. So we will go to the next verse. Yeah. Who wants to recite?
May I, may I, Mataji?
Yes, Mataji.
Thank you. Hare Krishna, Dandat Pranam, Mataji.
Whenever.
तमेव यूयं भजतात्मवृत्तिभिः मनोर्वचः कायगुणैः स्वकर्मभिः अमायिनः कामदुद्रीप पङ्कजं यथाधिकार sorry Mataji.
Dudanghri Pankajam.
कामदुधाङ्घ्रि पङ्कज Thank you Mataji. Sorry. यथाधिकारावसितार्थसिद्धयः. May I read translation?
Yes, Mataji, read the translation.
Okay, thank you. Hare Krishna, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Prithu Maharaj advised his citizens engaging your mind, your words, your bodies, and the results of your occupational duties, and being always open-minded. You should all render service render devotional service to the Lord according to your abilities and the occupations in which you are situated. You should engage your service at the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead with a full confidence and without reservation. Then you will surely be successful in achieving the final objective in your lives. Thank you, Mataji.
Yes,
Hare
thank you,
Krishna.
Mataji. Yes, Rishabhanu Kanya Mataji, you can read the first paragraph.
First, purport, Mataji.
Yes, purport.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam.
Dhanwad.
As stated in the 18th chapter of Bhagavad Gita,
Swakarmanatam abhyarcha.
स्वकर्मणास्य अर्चन्त्य
Swakarmanatam abhyarcha.
Swakarmana tam abhyarcha. One has to worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead by one's occupational duties. These necessities, accepting the principle of 4 varnas and 4
Ashramas.
ashramas. Prithu Maharaj therefore says, Gunata Swa Karma Bihi. This phrase is explained in Bhagavad Gita, Chaturvanya, Maya Sarvam,
Srushtam.
Srustam, Gunakarma, Vibhagashaha. The 4 castes, the Brahmin, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Shudra. Shudra are created by the Supreme Personality of Godhead according to the material modes of nature and the particular duties discharged in those modes. A person who is situated in the mode of goodness is certainly more intelligent than others. Therefore, he can practice the Brahminical activities, namely speaking the truth, controlling the senses, controlling the mind, remaining always clean, practicing tolerance, having a full knowledge about one's self identity, and understanding devotional service. In this way, if he engages himself in the loving service of the Lord as an actual Brahman, his aim to achieve the final interest of life is attained. Similarly, the Kshatriya's duties are to give protection to the citizen, to give all his possessions in charity, to be strictly Vedic in the management of state affairs, and to be afraid to fight whenever there is an attack by enemies. In this way, Kshatriya can satisfy Supreme Personality of Godhead by his occupational duties. Similarly, Vaishya can satisfy the Supreme Godhead by properly executing his occupational duties, engaging himself in producing foodstuffs, giving protections to cows, and trading if necessary when there is an excess of agriculture production. Similarly, because Sudras do not have ample intelligence, they should simply engage in workers to serve the higher status of social life. Everyone's aim should be to satisfy the Supreme Personality of Godhead by engaging his mind in thinking always of Krishna, his words in always offering prayers to the Lord, of preaching about the glories of the Lord, and his body in executing the service required to satisfy the Lord. As there are 4 divisions within our body: the head, the arm, the belly, and the legs. Similarly, human society taken as a whole is divided into uh, divided into 4 classes of men according to their material qualities and occupational duties. Thus, the Brahminical or intelligent man have to execute the duty of the head. The Kshatriyas must fulfill the duty of the arms, and the Vaishya class must fulfill the duty of the belly, and the Sudra must fulfill the duty of the legs. In executing the prescribed duties of life, no one is higher or lower. There are such division as higher and lower, but since there is actually a common interest, so uh, satisfy the Supreme Personality of Godhead, there are no distinctions between them. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji. We'll just discuss a little bit and then we'll read the next paragraph. Basically, in this paragraph, Prabhupada is elaborating just on the Varnashram system. You know, what are the duties of 4 Varnas, that is Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Shudra. And also, also he Prabhupada is mentioning about everybody, if they perform their occupational duties properly, then they I mean, there is no higher or lower status in that, as it is mentioned that Shudras, they serve all the 3 above classes, that is Brahman, Kshatriya, and Vaishya. So there is no higher or lower in that. Everybody has to do their prescribed duties, their occupational duties, because ultimately they have a common interest to satisfy the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So there are no distinctions between them as such. Everybody is performing their duty perfectly. So we know once this distinction comes when the interest is not the same. Like once the senses, they went on strike because they thought that belly is not doing anything and still getting everything inside it, correct? So I mean, the eyes were thinking that I see the food. The legs were thinking that I go to the food actually. The hand was thinking that I actually lift the food and put it in mouth, and the mouth was thinking that I actually chew it and then it goes to the belly. So belly is doing nothing but still receiving everything, correct? So they went on strike, and we know what happened is the body became weak because the body was not getting nourished. So when the interest is common, when the goal is the same, then there is no distinction as higher or lower, correct? If the center of our life is Krishna, then it doesn't matter whether you are a Brahmana, whether you are a Kshatriya, whether you are a Vaishya, or whether you are a Shudra. All are doing their activities for the pleasure of the Lord, for pleasing the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Then it really doesn't make any difference. Then we'll read the next paragraph. Who wants to read?
Mataji, shall I read, Mataji?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
The question may be raised that since the Lord is supposed to be worshipped by great demigods like Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, and others, how can an ordinary human being on this planet serve him? This is clearly explained by Prithu Maharaj by the use of the word yatadikara, according to one's ability. If one sincerely executes his occupational duty, that will be sufficient. One does not need to become like Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, Indra, Lord Chaitanya, or Ramanujacharya, whose capability are certainly far above ours. Even a Sudra who is in the lowest stage of life, according to the material qualities, can achieve the same success. Anyone can become successful in devotional service, provided he displays no duplicity. It is explained here that one must be very frank and open-minded, amayinaha. To be situated in a lower status of life is not a disqualification for success in devotional service. The only qualification is that Whether one is a Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, or Sudra, he must be open, frank, and free from reservations. Then, by performing his particular occupational duty under the guidance of a proper spiritual master, he can achieve the highest success of life, as confirmed by the Lord Himself. Striyo Vaishyas Tata Sudras Te Api Yanti Param Gatim. Bhagavad Gita 9.32. It does not matter what one is, whether a Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Sudra, or a degraded woman. If one engages himself seriously in devotional service, working with body, mind, and intelligence, he is sure to be successful in going back home, back to Godhead. The Lord's lotus feet are described here as Kama Dugangri Pankajam because they have all power to fulfill the desires of everyone. A devotee is happy even in this life because although in material existence we have many needs, all his material needs are satisfied. And when he at last quits his body, he goes back home, back to Godhead, without a doubt. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji. So in this paragraph, again, Prabhupada is mentioning that there is no higher or lower position as such, but one has to do everything according to one's ability. So there is one incident that a brahmachari, he was a new brahmachari, and he went to visit his parents. Okay, so the parents said, can you become like Ramanujacharya or Madhvacharya or Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? Are you going to be a great sannyasi like them? So they were telling him that you are a mediocre fellow, and so just come back home. No need to wear this dress like a brahmachari, and no need to become a sannyasi or something like that. There is no use because you are not going to be like such exalted personality. So this brahmachari got discouraged. He came back and he spoke with the senior in the temple, and he said parents are saying like that, and they are correct because they have seen me from childhood and they know how my activities are and all. Okay, so the thing is that we know that not everybody is extraordinary, like that. So Prabhupada just says that you don't have to become a very big boss in spiritual life, or no, a big personality, a big guru or something like that. You just have to preach the people around you. That is enough. You should not, I mean, not everybody is extraordinary. So in the bhakti path, in the path of devotion, Srila Prabhupada says that a squirrel, we know that story from Ramayana, a squirrel is also as much as recognized as Hanumanji, right? So there is no need of thinking like this, that, a Shudra, even a Shudra who is in the lowest stage can achieve the same success. We know that Narad Muni, in his previous birth, he was the son of a maid servant, but still he is a Mahajan, correct? Or Haridas Thakur, we call him as he was born in a Muslim family, but he is glorified as Namacharya, correct? So that doesn't matter. If one sincerely executes his devotional service, he is sure to get success. And one more point in this paragraph is, uh, it is mentioned in the translation also, that we have to engage three things: our mind, our words, and our body in the service of the Lord. And one must be open, frank, and free from reservations. Prabhupada is emphasizing on this point, and the amainaha word is very important in this shloka. So that means open-minded. So anyone can become successful in devotional service if there is no duplicity. Otherwise, bhakti becomes tough. So when Srila Prabhupada went to America, these American boys and girls, they were very simple, they were innocent, they were open, they were frank, and they were free from reservations. Prabhupada told them how to chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra, and Prabhupada told them that demigods are subordinate and Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead, and they immediately accepted that. In India, we just now saw that in India it is not possible because we have so many reservations. We are worshipping so many demigods from our childhood, since our childhood, and so it becomes very difficult for us to accept that Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead. Correct? So, but these girls and boys, they immediately accepted. Uh, when Srila Prabhupada was in Jhansi, um, he was he would go to one man Harinam Sankirtan. He would alone go, okay, and then after some time, some elderly people, no, they joined him, and they were learned and they were very good in giving advice. कि ऐसे करो वैसे करो ये नहीं करना चाहिए, like that. So one day Prabhupada asked them that would you join this movement and would you commit yourself? Okay, so when Prabhupada asked like that, they immediately turned their backs, correct? So, but same thing, Prabhupada in America, Prabhupada when told these boys and girls, they immediately accepted. Prabhupada carried the Vedic literature from India there, and all these people, they were Christians, but still they were open-minded, correct? And they felt that this Swamiji is talking very nicely, talking very attractively, and they totally surrendered to Srila Prabhupada. Just we can just imagine for an American, though these boys and girls, they were born and brought up in America in that American culture, and just imagine that they had to wear dhoti, kurta, then they applied tilak, bead bag, and then they kept shikha. The heads were shaven. The girls they wore saris. So just imagine that how difficult it would have been for them. In India, we are used to this kind of get up or attire because we have seen brahmanas or priests. We see them in this look, but there they were not knowing anything of this sort, and still they did this because they had a great affection and love for their guru Srila Prabhupada, correct? So they were so surrendered to Prabhupada that Malti Mataji, she was having a small child, Saraswati. She used to live in a cardboard box in London because Prabhupada asked the three couples to go and preach in London, and they were not knowing anybody, and they just went on the order of Srila Prabhupada. So that is the surrender. That is their submission to their guru. So because they were so open, so frank, and so free from any kind of reservations, Krishna also profusely blessed them, abundantly blessed them, and and so that they developed that deep faith in Krishna and in Guru, right? So the point here is how to take shelter of like we saw that service cleanses the heart. So how to do that service that we saw how to serve by taking the shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord, and how to take shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord is uh, by your mind, words, and body, and open-minded, free from reservations. Correct? So that we saw in these two verses. And now let's go to the last verse for today. Yes. Who wants to recite?
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Yes, Prabhuji.
I will try my best, Mataji.
Yes, Prabhuji.
असाविहानेक गुणो गुणोद्वरः पृथग्विधद्रव्य गुणक्रियोक्तिभिः सम्पद्यतेऽर्थाशयलिङ्गनामभिः विशुद्ध विज्ञानगणस्वरूपतः. Am I right, Mataji?
Yes, Prabhuji. Very correct.
I am reading in Kannada scripture.
Yes, Prabhuji. Whatever we are comfortable with, we can read with that.
Thank you, Mataji. Translation by A.C. Bhaktivedanta Prabhupada ki jai. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is transcendental and not contaminated by this material world. But although he is concentrated spirit soul without material variety, for the benefit of the conditioned soul, he nevertheless accepts different types of sacrifice performed with various material elements, rituals and mantras, and offered to the demigods under different names according to the interests and purposes of the performers. Shall I read purport, Mataji?
Yes, Prabhuji, you can read the first two paragraphs.
Okay. Purport by A.C. Bhaktivedanta Prabhupada ki jai. For material prosperity, there are recommendations in the Vedas for various types of yajna, sacrifice. In Bhagavad Gita 3.10, it is confirmed that Lord Brahma created all living entities, including human beings and demigods, and advised them to perform yajna according to their material desires, saha yajnaha praja sruštva. These performances are called yajnas because their ultimate goal is to satisfy the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vishnu. The purpose of performing yajnas is to get material benefit, but because of the aim is to simultaneously satisfy the Supreme Lord. Such yajnas have been recommended in the Vedas. Such performances are of course known as karmakanda or material activities, and all material activities are certainly contaminated by the three modes of material nature. Generally, the karmakanda ritualistic ceremonies are performed in the mode of passion. Yet the conditioned souls, both human beings and demigods, are obliged to perform these yajnas because without them one cannot be happy at all. Srila Vishwanatha Chakravarti Thakura comments that these karmakanda ritualistic ceremonies, although contaminated, contain touches of devotional service because whenever there is a performance of any yajna, Lord Vishnu is given a central position. This is very important because even a little endeavor to please Lord Vishnu is bhakti and is of great value. A thing of bhakti purifies the material nature of the performances, which by devotional service gradually come to the transcendental position. Therefore, although such yajnas are superficially material activities, the results are transcendental. Such yajnas as Surya Yajna, Indra Yajna, and Chandra Yajna are performed in the names of the demigods. But these demigods are bodily parts of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The demigods cannot accept sacrificial offerings for themselves, but they can accept them for the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Just as a departmental of tax collector of a government cannot collect taxes for his personal account, but can realize them for the government. Any yajna performed with this complete knowledge and understanding is described in Bhagavad Gita as Brahmarpanam, or a sacrifice offered to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, since no one but the Supreme Lord can enjoy the results of sacrifice. The Lord says that he is the actual enjoyer of all sacrifices. Bhoktaram Yajnatapasam Sarvaloka Maheshwaram. Sacrifices should be performed with his view in mind, as stated in Bhagavad Gita 4.24. Brahmarpanam Brahma Havihir Brahmagnau Brahmanahutam Brahmaiva Tena Gantavyam Brahma Karma Samadhina. Hare Krishna Mataji.
Prabhuji, you can read the translation.
A person who is fully absorbed in Krishna consciousness is sure to attain the spiritual kingdom because of his full contribution to spiritual activities, in which the consummation is absolute and that which is offered is of the same spiritual nature. The performer of sacrifices must always keep in view that the sacrifices mentioned in the Vedas are meant to satisfy the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Vishnur Aradhyate Pantha
Pantha.
Vishnu Purana 3.8.9. Anything material or spiritual done for the satisfaction of the Supreme Lord is understood to be an actual yajna. And by performing such yajnas, one gets liberation from material bondage. The direct method of getting liberation from material bondage is devotional service, comprising the 9 following methods. Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji. Yes. Yes, Archana Mataji, you can read.
Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Pada Sevanam, Archanam Vandanam, Dasyam Sakyam, Atma Nivedanam. Bhagavatam 7.5.23. This ninefold process is described in this verse as Vishuddha Vijnana Gana, or satisfying the Supreme Personality of Godhead directly by transcendental knowledge concentrated on the form of Supreme Lord Vishnu. This is the best method for satisfying the Supreme Lord. One who cannot take to this direct process, however, should take the indirect process of performing yajnas for satisfaction of Vishnu or yajna. Vishnu is therefore called Yajnapati. Shriyapatim, Yajnapatim, Jagatpatim, Bhagavatam 2.9.15. The Supreme Personality of Godhead's deep scientific knowledge is concentrated to the supreme point. For example, medical science knows something superficially, but doctors do not know exactly how things happen in the body. Lord Krishna, however, knows everything in detail. Therefore, his knowledge is Vijnana Gana, because it does not have any of the defects of material science. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is Vishuddha Vijnana Gana, concentrated transcendental knowledge. Therefore, even though he accepts the karma kandya materialistic yajnas, he always remains in the transcendental positions. Therefore, the mention of Aneka Guna refers to Supreme Personality of Godhead's many transcendental qualities, for he is not affected by the material qualities. The different kinds of material paraphernalia or physical elements are also gradually transformed into spiritual understanding, because ultimately there is no difference between material and spiritual qualities, for everything emanates from the Supreme Spirit. This is realized by gradual process of realization and purification. One vivid example of this is Dhruva Maharaja, who took to the meditation in the forest to achieve material benefit, but ultimately became spiritually advanced and did not want any benediction for material profit. He was simply satisfied with the association of Supreme Lord. Asaya means determination. Generally, a conditioned soul has determination for material profit. But when these desires for material profits are satisfied through performance of yajna, one gradually achieves the supreme spiritual platform. Then his life becomes perfect. Srimad Bhagavatam 2.3.10 therefore recommends Akama Sarva Kamova Moksha Kama Udaradihi Tivrena Bhakti Yogena Yajate Purusham Param. Everyone, whether Akama or Akama, a devotee, Sarvakama, a karmi, or Mokshakama, a jnani or yogi, is encouraged to worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead by the direct method of devotional service. In this way, one can get both material and spiritual profit simultaneously. Hare Krishna Mataji, thank you.
Hare Krishna, thank you, Mataji. The purport is very big. The point here is there are two methods, direct and indirect. Indirect method is by performing sacrifices. And sacrifices, how ultimately the Lord is the Yajnapati, correct? The sacrifices are meant for him only. The demigods, the people have lot of material desires. correct? And therefore they worship different demigods, and they perform different sacrifices to achieve to fulfill their material desires. But ultimately, Yajnapati, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is only bestowing the blessings to them, correct? Because the demigods cannot cannot give or receive anything unless the Lord permits them, correct? So ultimately, he is the Yajnapati. He is the one to whom all sacrifices should be offered, correct? And the other method, direct method given, is the devotional service to the Lord. Now, this sacrifices method, in today's age of Kali, it is not recommended, because we have seen in previous uh, chapters also that performing a sacrifice is not easy, correct? All the paraphernalia, all the items should be very pure, correct? And the mantras have to be chanted very perfectly, very correctly, and the brahmana should be pure, and everything should be pure, which is not possible in this age of Kali, correct? And the sacrifice, the aim of the sacrifice is to please Lord Vishnu, correct? So ultimately it is said Krishnarpanamastu or Narayanam Samarpayami or something like that, correct? But if that understanding is not there, then that yajna or that sacrifice is not successful. It cannot be called as successful. Just for performing a ritual or following the tradition, if we are going to perform that sacrifice, then that ultimate aim is not achieved, correct? So it has to be that understanding has to be there, that ultimately we are going to offer everything to Lord Vishnu or Lord Krishna. So if that understanding in this age of Kali, it is not there, and so for Kali Yuga, the only sacrifice which is recommended, because which is the Yuga Dharma for this Yuga, is nothing but the Sankirtan Yajna, correct? Harinam, chanting of the holy names of the Lord, or Harinam Sankirtan, that sacrifice is the only recommended method for this age of Kali. And the other point is devotional service. Um, so devotional service, we know that the 9 processes of devotional service, Smaranam, Kirtanam, Shravanam, right? So that will purify our desires, correct? Because the desires in any way, now if the desire is fulfilled, there is a danger of one getting pride. And if the desire is not fulfilled, then there is anger. And because of that anger, that shloka in the 2nd chapter of Bhagavad Gita, ध्यायतो विषयान् पुंसा संगस्तेषु उपजायते संगात् संजायते कामः कामात् क्रोधो विजायते क्रोधात् भवति सम्मोहः सम्मोहात् स्मृति विभ्रमः स्मृति भ्रंशात् बुद्धिनाशो बुद्धिनाशात् प्रणश्यति. So there is a fall down because of this anger. So anyways, the desires, even if fulfilled or not fulfilled, they lead to misery only. So by devotional service, by engaging in the service of the Lord, we can purify our desires. And then this is the direct process for purification. Or performing these sacrifices or yajnas is indirect method. It is like if somebody is not doing anything, it is saying that at least do something. So at least do some sacrifice and offer something to the Lord. It is like that, correct? And but this is a very gradual process. One will advance gradually from karma kanda to jnana kanda to upasana kanda, then to bhakti yoga. Like that, one will gradually reach the ultimate goal of life. But this devotional service is the direct method. like we are going by elevator, or then that we are going by elevator. This is the direct method, that is the bhakti yoga. And if we go by stairs, then that is a gradual process, correct? So, but at least if one is not faithful, one is not having any faith, so at least for him, he just have to follow the rituals, and through that also, because as I said, the mantra says that Krishna Arpanamastu. So at least even if he doesn't have faith, he will get some sukruti, he will get some benefit of it, and gradually he will be elevated. Like in case of Dhruva Maharaj. Why Dhruva Maharaj went to the forest? Because he wanted to have a kingdom which is bigger than his forefathers, correct? So he went, and then he performed so much austerities and penances for 6 months, correct? And then Lord Vishnu gave him darshan. And as soon as he got darshan of the Lord, all his desires, they were vanquished. He no more wanted to have a kingdom like that. Correct? Just by the darshan of the Lord, his heart was purified. Correct? So that's why it is said that devotional service. And when one knows that devotional service is the direct method, when one comes to know, at least one should try to follow that method, because it is easy method and we can directly attain love of God, correct? Love of Godhead. So why two methods are given? If this is the best method, devotional service is the best method, then why the other method is also given? Because all people in this world are not at same level. Like in a school, in a class, all children, the teacher is teaching the same topic, same subject to all the children, but not all children are at same level. That's why some just passes, some comes the top, some becomes the topper, and some are mediocre, correct? So the teacher gives instructions to different children according to their caliber. One who comes in the first 10 ranks, she suggests that you should study very hard so that you can come first, right? So who is a mediocre? She says, if you try little hard, you can get 80%. But the child who fails always, then she inspires or motivates him, saying that at least do that much study so that you will pass in the exam. You will not have a ear drop, right? So because there are different varieties of people in this material world, such processes are recommended, so that at least by performing them, they can come to the platform of Bhakti Yoga, and then they can achieve the ultimate goal of life, which is going back home, back to Godhead. So that's why Prithu Maharaj is also instructing like this. So in today's 3 verses, we just saw that how to surrender by serving, by inclination of service to the Lord. The heart gets purified, the mind gets purified. And how to serve that? By taking shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord. And how to take shelter? By the process of devotional service, right? So that was the connection between these verses. So we'll stop here. So if you have any comments, or if you want to share something.
Hare Krishna. I have a
Yes.
small question.
Yes.
Mahataji, we can also see the Lord face to face, like Dhruva Maharaja. Because
Mataji?
yeah,
Yes. Complete your question.
we are doing, we are also pleasing the Lord, because according to our Kali Yuga, we are doing. We are not doing any austerity or, big tapasya process. I know that. But we are doing the devotional service, Smaranam, Kirtanam, Archanam, Vishnu Samaranam, everything. Pada Sevanam.
Yes.
So, why, uh, we are also living in the materialistic world only.
Mhm.
Like Dhruva Maharaja, we also wish so many things.
Correct.
So still we will be getting darshan? No. I mean,
Mataji, if we come to, if we become pure devotee, then definitely we will be able to see Lord face to face. Lord is waiting for us. Okay,
okay, that's
when we
great.
come back to Him,
I mean,
He's
Lord will not come to us. We have to go to Golokpura.
Mataji. He may also he is with us. Okay, He may come to us. The thing is that our heart should be that much pure. And as you said, we are also performing devotional service. We are doing Shravan, Kirtan, correct?
Yes.
Smaran. We are doing all these things. We are trying to follow. But are we perfect in our devotional service? That we should, that we should ask to ourselves. Have we perfected our lives? So we have not yet perfected, isn't it? We have so many still contaminations, and we are not that much balanced or equipoised that whatever situation comes, we can handle it. It is not like that, isn't it, Mataji?
Yes,
Yes,
Mataji.
Sudha Mataji, Sindhu Mataji, do you think that we have perfected our lives like that? It is not so easy. The Maya is so strong that at any point of time we can fall prey to Maya. Correct? So the thing is that we have to keep doing. The Lord gives us small realizations, Mataji. Correct?
Yes,
Small,
Mataji.
that we can see easily. Instead of seeing Lord face to face, we can see small realizations which we get when we are
Uh,
chanting,
his
when we are,
presence, we can,
yes,
yeah,
Mataji. Unless and until we achieve that platform, that highest platform, Mataji, that purest, that we are not thinking of anything other than Krishna, the stage of gopis, Mataji. Are we in that
yeah.
stage?
Okay.
That is the highest example, right, Mataji?
Yes, Mataji.
But while
So
doing
that's what there is
any,
a saying, no, Mataji. Like we should not, expect God to come and see us. We should do something,
correct.
so that
Yeah,
Lord
Bhakti
will come and
Siddhanta
see.
Saraswati Thakur says that don't try to see Krishna, but
Yeah, do
serve
something
Krishna in such a way that he wants to see you. He comes
to
and
you.
sees you. So we just have to do
Perfect our
our job, and
yourself.
rest everything Krishna will take care. So for in our case, we are getting small realization. Our small desires, spiritual desires, when they get fulfilled,
Mm.
we know that Krishna is seeing my efforts. Isn't it, Mataji? Do you agree with this?
Yes,
Sup-
Mataji.
sup-
Small spiritual improvements. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, if you if you keep yourself alert, you can see that small desires are getting fulfilled. Hmm?
Yes,
If
Mataji.
you,
Yes.
yeah, if you wish something that I want to go for this dham, somehow or other a yatra will
Yes,
be
Mataji.
arranged, isn't it? Or you want to do some seva,
Yeah.
everything will be, all other duties or your other responsibilities will be taken care of, and you will be able to go to do that seva. Correct? So for
Yes,
us,
Mataji.
we are getting these small realizations.
Yeah, in one of the class, they were asking this question also. If Krishna suddenly comes in front of you, what will you ask? Each one was telling something.
First of all, it will be very difficult for us to believe that
Yeah.
Krishna is in front of us.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
So, and then what to ask? Yeah, that is do ki
Yeah.
baat.
And we will be bewildered, and we won't be able to think कि क्या पूछना है, what we should ask for it. That is
Yes.
our condition. So we are not at that stage, Mataji. We have to still far away to go.
Okay, sure, Mataji.
Yes, Archana Mataji, you want to
Hare
ask
Krishna
something?
Mataji. Mataji, actually, whenever we have pains, whenever we have suffering, we always think we are praying so much, we are doing so much devotional service, even when we are always having miseries in our life. We think like that at times. But today's that marble story was very nice, Mataji. Only when we get pains, we are getting only once. That
Yes.
that was very nice, Mataji.
And that is for our purification, Mataji. The other marble, that marble piece tolerated all those things, and so see how beautiful he became, isn't it?
Yes, Mataji. That story was very nice, Mataji. It is actually giving answer to all the questions, like
Yeah.
complete answer. Hare Krishna, Mataji. Thank you, Mataji.
Yes, thank you, Mataji. Yes.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna. So, anybody else has to say something or any takeaway points from today's class?
Mataji, thank you, Mataji.
You can just share one quickly and we'll stop.